It's time for the Patti Show, starring Patti Smith and Pat Hughes.
Okay.
Welcome to the Patti Show, and we've talked about a bunch of stuff, but
We've been busy.
Yeah, I know, and we don't really know what we're going to talk about. What we're going to talk about first, what we're going to talk about second.
It's always a surprise.
Okay. Yeah,
sometimes,
I know.
Sometimes Pat has a list.
Yeah, I know. This time that's my list. There's nothing on it.
White paper.
That's last week. This is this week. Okay? And but we're going to start. We've talked about a lot of things regarding justice and the American way. Mm-hmm. Liberty and justice and the American way. That's the theme of this show.
It was a good thought. Too bad we're losing it.
Well, why are we losing it? Because we're letting it go away.
But here's the thing. Different people have different reasons for why they think we're losing it. For example, somebody put out a meme the other day on the Facebook, and it said something about stupid people, about, stupid people shouldn't be able to vote in this country. And I said, well, yeah, but the problem is,
what's your definition of stupid?
yeah, who's going to be able to be the decider on who stupid is? Because you think I'm stupid and I think you're stupid, and that causes a little bit of a problem. Yep. Maybe we should stop thinking of each other as too stupid to vote.
No. We should, actually, we should have universal voting.
I think so.
That is one
I think
of the
every American should be forced to go to the polls and vote. The only reason you shouldn't vote is if you're like in a coma or something.
Well, among the principles that I believe very strongly are freedom of speech.
Yes.
In fact, I'm going to say at this point, and I'm just going to kind of whip my hands and say, Confederate flag.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness. I am, I've got relatives that were Confederates and whatever. I am,
Me too.
The real problem, the reason that I'm going to go away is because I realize that doing this is the same as doing that.
Exactly.
Okay, to a large portion of the people.
Yeah.
And
or this one. How's this one?
Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
Well, let's get rid of that sucker again. But anyway, with the red, white, and blue. But it's not the symbols. These symbols and these big things are just really kind of silly in a lot of ways.
Well, they're offensive to people, but I think that since the last show, I certainly say it's offensive and it should be off of governmental property, because
Absolutely.
Government is supposed to work for everybody and it's not supposed to discriminate anybody.
That's true.
And it's a First Amendment issue. If you want to display it and tell the world how you think,
prove to everybody who you are.
Yeah.
then go for it. But I think that it's a little disconcerting to me at the stealth and speed in which the flag has just disappeared from major retailers, and you have to ask yourself, what really happened behind the scenes to make this happen? I mean, did the government just call up some of these retailers and say, please take these off of your shelves?
I don't know.
Or was there some coercion or threats
I think it was the NRA saying, if we can make it about the Confederate flag, the shooting in South Carolina about the Confederate flag,
then they won't be going after the guns.
And the guns make us money. We don't make no money out of the
I hadn't
flag.
thought of that.
But
Okay.
here's the thing, though, is
We're not going to get the guns done anyway.
the fact that the federal government was involved in saying, to these retailers, let's take it off the shelf, let's stop selling anything, even like little 55 scale.
But was it the federal government?
Yes, it was. It was the Obama administration that reached out to these retailers and stuff and said, let's stop selling this stuff.
Where did you hear that? Because, is that true, or is that something you heard on
Is that right
Fox?
wing? Is that
Exactly.
right wing?
Okay, so we'll try to find this,
Let's find some evidence about that.
I'm not real sure that the government would be doing that.
But if
I'm not either.
But if that is true, that ought to give American citizens pause.
Oh, yes.
That the federal government is now the arbiter of what people can buy.
Okay, well, if
And
all right.
then you have to wonder.
There
okay,
it is
what's
again.
next?
Okay, because
what's next?
screw it,
What
because the federal
next are
government
they
doesn't
gonna
tell me
say?
what the hell to say and what I cannot
Right.
say. So the hell with it.
Well, Deena, listen, I would be more willing to bet on what Pat said about the NRA asking it to go away than the Obama administration. But I'd be willing to accept the facts of either one.
I know, and you got
the
senators and whatever in Mississippi, the governor of Mississippi. You got you got all these conservative politicians doing that.
Even that,
and they're not going to do something because Obama wanted them to.
But even if it's the federal government, or even if it's the NRA, that is overreach. Okay, that you have a lobbying entity such as the NRA that's able to sit there and come in and tell
that's America today, Deena. Bought and paid for.
And cannot buy. That is wrong. And people should be screening and holding, because this harkens back to Germany in the 1940s. All I can think of is, I'm not going to be concerned about it because it doesn't affect me today, but then tomorrow they may be coming after something that affects me. We really need to find out what exactly transpired that caused them to yank.
I agree.
I think it was just plain as good sense, and I don't think that. In fact, I saw a guy running around with 2 full Confederate flags on the back of his Chevrolet 4x4 in the Kroger parking lot, and nobody threw a rotten tomato at him at all.
I've seen him drive down my road.
But think about this: you can't go out to Alibaba anymore and place a wholesale order for the things. You can't buy the flags on Amazon or go to Walmart. You can't even buy a game
you can fly to Brazil and go to the celebration of all the black people that are miscegenated or whatever.
TV Land took the Dukes of Hazzard off the air. That's ridiculous. And now they said that the General Lee that has the flag on top of it, if they sell that car anymore, that is just gone too far.
I'm not so sure that anybody coerced these corporations. These corporations are greedy and they want money. And if they're going to offend a huge chunk of the American population, they might say to themselves, ooh, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore because we won't get their money anymore. Maybe this was just a corporate decision.
There's plenty of people that were buying them.
Well, yes,
we
indeed.
Does corporate America care about somebody's feelings? They certainly don't.
Because, Deena, if you're selling an object versus not selling an object, you're not going to piss the people. People didn't get pissed off because they went into a McDonald's and couldn't buy a Confederate flag. But if they went into McDonald's and could buy a Confederate flag, then half of them or a lot of them be pissed off.
Well, a lot of these people don't even know what a Confederate flag is.
Well,
there's a segment of the population
intellectual
that's
prowess is not big in America.
Yeah, it's all about my heritage, or they
and that
are
just
giving
shows,
everybody, a certain segment of the population.
And when they say that, it's heritage, not hate. Mm-hmm. What they're doing is proving that they're delusional and they live in their own little bubble of delusion.
Living in the past is what they are.
Exactly.
I could care less about the flag. I'm just concerned about the overreach of either the federal government
pure and simple,
or these corporations or these lobbying groups to basically lord over us and to tell us what we can and cannot buy.
I can promise you absolutely that if they were making anything more than a pittance off of selling Confederate flags, them damn things would still be there.
Well, that is obviously the case. I mean,
okay,
I know. It was that do nothing for you except for harm you, like cigarettes. Well, that they're never going to take a stance and say, you know what, I'm going to do something good for them.
Well, actually, what was it CVS did? That corporate, that ALEC company, CVS. They're part of ALEC.
ALEC. Yeah. Mm-hmm. ALEC is the American Legislative Exchange Council.
Of which Ms. Not Braddock anymore, it's Ms. Rakestraw, Paulding.
And 34% of Georgia legislatures are members of ALEC.
But every one of ours is, including Mr. Maxwell.
That means you ought to vote them out.
well, not everyone, because Kim Alexander's not, and I didn't see Michael Gravely, but I did see our state senator. Bill Heath, yes. And so those three are, and Glenn Richardson was too when he was speaker.
And I wonder,
He was a genius.
and imagine that. I bet if you look at the racial composition of these legislatures, I would imagine that they would all have something in common.
What could it be?
Caucasian.
A little bit
The
of
color of their skin, maybe.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because Alec is all about
white power.
White power, yes. Thank you, Patty. You couldn't have said that better myself.
Thank
No,
you.
it's not about white power. It's about green power, and the green is in the hands of the white people.
And if we can use and abuse and enslave people, then more power to us. And Alec was one of the entities that was behind. Well, they were instrumental in getting past
the system for maximizing profit. And they're gaming the system for maximizing profit.
The truth in
and isn't that the
sentencing.
American way? Isn't that the American way?
The Truth in Sentencing Act.
Huh?
The Truth in Sentencing Act, which basically mandated harsher sentences for...
Yeah. Absolutely, and
basically,
they made money.
Great. And that's great for the for-profit prison.
I know it sucks for regular people that end up in jail and end up working for 23 cents an hour or whatever. You know, but hey, look, it's about profits.
That's right.
And
I think I'm going to cut both of y'all off of your caffeine intake before the next show.
Well, there's nothing that infuriates me more than what we were talking about today.
I can tell.
I mean,
you're not usually this animated. Usually it's me.
Yeah, I know.
I've been talking about Alec and specifically this Truth in Sentencing Act for a long time, because if you sit there and you look at the corporations who are members of ALEC, guess what? They all benefit from the Truth in Sentencing Act because they're all having their products made using
but that doesn't take into
labor.
consideration that the newest thing, and you can find a lot of signatories from Ralph Reed to Newt Gingrich to Right on Crime is their group, started in 2010, and basically they came to the conclusion that they don't think that it's good for us to have 2.5 million people behind bars? Okay?
It is incredibly stupid, and I have always thought
people
so.
behind jails.
I have always thought our criminal justice system is totally broken.
They are very serious about reforming our criminal justice system.
I don't believe any of that.
I believe that they are, because I see it as an opportunity for them to privatize it, and but maybe make it where we don't involve as many. Now, the thing that bothers me most is the recent trend that puts y'all at greater risk of going to prison. In fact, U.S. has 5% of all the of the population of the world. And we have 25% overall of the people in prison. We have 21% of all the men in prison, and we have 33% of all the women. And women are real good at making things and all that sort of stuff. So they're
good workers.
Yeah, good workers. You got
all I can think about
indentured servitude.
All I can think about is
13th Amendment. That was the
these
failure
Republicans
of the 13th
that
Amendment.
are talking about this is that what they are doing is they're saying there's a problem. They're framing the discussion, and then they're going to come in and offer the solution, which is privatizing, and then it's game on for them to enslave even more people than they already have. So I don't believe anything, because I mean that's the playbook.
I understand.
And people need to recognize that.
You know, we're really pretty excited about all this, and one of the reasons that I'm kind of
we are excited today. We are excited.
Yeah, no, we're excited.
I think it's horrible that we're enslaving millions of people.
It's horrible.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to put somebody in prison for 20 years for smoking a couple of joints.
Well, let's talk about what the problem is in this country. The problem is that our
you get the justice you can afford.
Well, no, we're paying a lot more for our sorry, sick justice than we would if we did it the right way. Look at what's going on in Germany. Our problem is that we elect our district attorneys, so they don't really care if somebody's guilty. Yeah, they don't care if somebody's guilty or not. They just got to put them in jail so they get reelected.
5% going to jail.
And you see time and time again.
And the 3 strikes
where,
and you're out. Even if all you did was steal a loaf of bread, you're in prison.
But see, you see time and time again where these corrupt district attorneys and their little cronies will sit there and they'll suppress evidence, or they'll plant evidence just so they can put somebody in prison so they can look good.
Exactly.
And
that
that's like a notch on their bed. You know what I mean?
That is not as common as you imagine.
I think you're delusional.
What is more common is that they'll come up with a list of 50 charges, each of which, because of all the sentencing regulations and whatever, are 5 to 10. No. It's kind of like a blunderbuss, and they know that they can get the jury to agree to one.
Well,
and so what it does is it says 95%, 97% of all the cases are settled by plea bargain.
Yes.
Okay? And so they'll drop 49 of the 50 charges and charge them on one, and they'll get them in there for 3 years, 5 years, whatever. Okay? That's the way that they do it. And it is overcharging and overcriminalization.
Well,
They don't need to plant evidence to do that.
But they do.
Typically,
you hear about it all the time. How many times? How often do you hear? Wait, just stop talking for a moment, please.
No, I'm not going to allow that idea of an idea.
How many people are released from freaking death row and they've been proven innocent?
I understand.
Time again.
Typically, it is a matter of the law enforcement, the cops that are doing that, not the DA.
Broken criminal justice system, Pat.
You're saying the DA is doing it. It's not.
They're all doing it.
They're all complicit.
Absolutely. In fact, it is probably taken their mentality. They have become so cynical in the system.
Yes.
Well, I can't help but become cynical. I don't trust the police. I don't trust our politicians. I don't trust churches. You can't trust pretty much anybody farther than you can kick them.
I certainly found that when I came to this county.
Absolutely, we can't be about destroying what little trust. We've got to figure out ways to increase trust. Because if that was the entire goal, was to destroy all trust, then what kind of government does that give us? We can't. No, it doesn't.
Chaos.
No, it gives us
what we've got here in Paulding. I certainly don't trust any of the politicians in Paulding.
Thank you.
Well, it is the people that have been destroying trust in government. It actually is coming home to roost a little bit. And it is.
Yes, it is.
And it's not so much. Government is a real tough. Government. We have to have government.
Yes, we do.
We've got to have trustworthy government.
Yes, we do.
And what
how do you get there from here?
You take the money out of politics. That would be a good first step.
I think that all elections should be publicly funded. Each candidate gets X amount of money, and there you go.
And we should not have stupid elections that never end. It's called term
limits. We need to have term
limits. No. I'm talking about right now.
We need to have longer terms.
Please let me talk. What I am upset about right now is these stupid presidential election of 2016 began in 2014. I'm sick to death of never-ending elections. Well, yes.
Sad of them.
When I was younger, the election would start after January of the year of the election.
Actually, the 2016 election began on February 3rd, or January 20th, 2009.
Yeah.
with the absolute trashing
Well,
and
but my
decision
point,
to.
my point is there used to be at least a few days between the damned elections where you could just turn away, that you didn't have to look at it. There wasn't so much money. You could actually live your life without being bombarded with this stupid clown show that is now the presidential election.
Okay. All right, we agree that it is a clown show. Okay?
Yes, it is.
But what I'm wanting to get us headed toward is how do we get from here to a better place? Let me suggest.
A better place.
Okay, yeah. Contemplate a better place for a moment, and let me kind of talk. Let me talk for just a minute, okay? Okay. Let's think. You brought up Germany. You brought up Germany, okay?
Yes,
now,
I did.
Germany has got
You'd think they have a terrible criminal justice system, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah.
Terrible.
After what
that
they
whole
did
World
to
War II episode.
Yeah, absolutely. They were stacking bodies.
Yeah.
And they were.
Like cordwood.
Yep, they had the right wing of the German people were in control, and they stacked them and they burned them.
They were evil SOBs.
They had a new.
How are they now, Pat?
Okay, well that's where I want to go. And they have they wrote a new constitution that demanded that people that are in prison or incarcerated by the state be treated with dignity.
What a marvelous thing. Unlike here.
See, somebody forgot to turn off their cell phone.
Yeah, I know. And I'm going to fix that. Oh, decline. Okay. Sorry about that. But
can't go anywhere without somebody's cell phone.
Yeah, I know.
Off, you know?
Hey,
it doesn't matter if it's a funeral.
Okay, so let's get back to the whole Germany and their criminal justice revolution.
Their constitution demanded that they treat prisoners with dignity.
Wow, what a concept.
Yes, it was.
I like it.
And I've even seen some of that type of rhetoric from the far right that is talking about
stunning, but true.
Yes. But they actually are living it. They're actually doing it. I mean, it was like oh my God, they're actually doing it this way?
Guess what? It's working.
Yeah, very low recidivism. There are some people that, they've got psychiatrists and psychologists that look at people, and if they've been in for a violent crime and they're not really that stable, they stay.
Yes.
Okay. And
if they feel that they're going to do danger to the public,
they stay in a
decent place.
Yeah, decent place. I mean,
it's like they got their own little one-room apartment.
It's really kind of.
It's like they're treated like human beings.
Tell you what, I'm going because it's unbelievable. You didn't believe when I was talking to you, did you? I told you had to read that.
I did believe you,
but you didn't understand, really.
No, I did. I know you always think I don't understand, but I did understand,
but it's better than I said.
But it was better than he explained because we didn't talk about it for the length of 5 articles, and I read 5 articles.
I know, and I did too.
And
what it amounts to, the reason you couldn't understand, and the reason you had to read it was because it is so alien to the American mind that a prison would be operated this way.
It's like
that you cannot even grasp
but here's
it.
The
is
thing.
like an alternate universe, really.
But here's the thing: it's not only Germany that operates like this.
No, that's
Your
true.
Scandinavian countries have a very similar model.
All
they treat their prisoners
countries
with
work this
decency
way
and compassion. Yes.
All decent countries work that way.
But they're evil socialist countries. Oh.
Yes, but it costs them less money to incarcerate these people. Once these people come out of incarceration, they are not labeled and shunned and made it impossible for them to get a job or a place to live.
While they were in.
Yes, they give them like their own little apartment that they can decorate. They have a phone in there. The warden has to knock on the door before he enters. They teach them. They counsel
They don't rape them.
No, they do not rape them.
Patty, American exceptionalism is so much better than socialism. Don't you know that? I mean, come on, it's American exceptionalism. We can rape our prisoners and treat them poorly. I mean, come on.
It's in our
that's not the thing.
Constitution.
And
It's in our Constitution that way.
I realize that there are people that are clueless and delusional enough to call everything that is bad about America American exceptionalism, but just because you think it doesn't make it true. It's not exceptional that we incarcerate young boys who are vulnerable and put them in adult prison so they can be somebody's bitch.
Yeah, their juvenile system goes until age 25 or so.
At 24, I think it said.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's 21, but they're trying to get it to 24. I think that was it. But they keep them completely separate. They realize that these young boys are indeed often more
brains are
violent.
different,
Yes,
right.
their brains are very different, and they acknowledge that. And so whereas the adult prisoners have more ability to kind of live, go and around the place, go out to the kitchen and cook a meal if they want to. These boys are a little more separated because, all that testosterone raging in their little brains kind of makes them uncontrollable sometimes.
But that's good.
Still, they're helping them evolve into being better people.
They understand the psychology of the people who they're dealing with, and they're treating them appropriately.
Yes.
And we're not doing that here in this country.
In Germany, they're treating their prisoners as human beings. Imagine that.
Whereas we just treat them like
Garbage.
indentured servants.
Like
Yes.
monsters. And I wonder who the monster is in that scenario.
Well, actually,
I don't
if
think
you-
it's
if
the
you look-
people in jail. I think it's the people incarcerating them.
Yeah,
The
and
for-profit prison.
For-profit prison monsters.
Right.
but even state-run prisons were designed to be. Well, the American system was tough love.
Oh, yeah,
we're going to do tough love.
No,
we're going spare the rod, spoil the child, and we spared the rod on these kids, so we're going to beat the hell out of them now that they're.
So
in
we're
prison.
gonna teach them how to be monsters
let's
like
stick
we
'em-
are.
Let's stick them in cages by themselves like animals.
Yes.
And poke them. And poke
Like
'em.
this young boy up in Rikers Island. That's New York. This young boy was accused of stealing a backpack, which he did not. They had no proof that he did it. Somebody just accused him of it. He was taken to Rikers Island. He spent over 3 years, was it, in a cell in Rikers Island. Much of that time he was in solitary confinement. He was never brought before a judge. He was never brought to trial. And they finally couldn't think of another excuse to keep him there because he'd been there so damn long, and they let him go. And though in the beginning he talked about how he was going to be an advocate for people like himself, in the end he took his own life because it just messed with his
I just
head.
wish that he had sued the hell out
I
of the
wish he had
government.
to. I wish he had to. But he couldn't take it. They damaged him so badly that he could only think of taking his own life.
Well,
But
You know,
there's
that-
a lot of people that think that that's
I know.
okay.
Yeah,
But, I mean-
they're not okay.
Our whole system is probably much more like the Nazi system with the Jews and everything
Oh,
else.
it
as far
is.
As, I mean,
It
the
is.
and you look at the statistics. They did an article in the Washington Post that I think I sent around
Yes,
too.
yes.
About out of they counted up 460 some odd people on Paulding.com have read about this as well. 461 people have been killed between January 1st and June 30th.
About a week
28th.
ago is when the article ran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is roughly double the rate that has been reported by the FBI as far as police killing people. And many of the instances were justified and whatever. But the key part was 123, I believe, of the 461 were mentally ill
Right.
people. People that had probably more than that, but at least that number. And the idea that these people, what they were saying is that we need to have training of police so that they know how to deal with this, because when a person calls, my son is off his meds and he's acting weird, they're not calling, please come kill him.
Right. We don't want you to come blow his brains out. We just want you to
Well,
come
I mean,
help
if they shoot
control
dogs,
him.
why should they treat people any better, pal?
Right.
Well, I understand, and it's not universal, and I have to say, in deference to the people here in Paulding County, that I've seen actions that were a lot better. I've seen they've had a seminar at the Dallas Theater. This was probably 2009, where people talked about where the police, the sheriff actually talked about how they could call the hospital in Rome, get some people to help. I had an incident because my son being autistic, where they actually came out and created a book and
that was marvelous.
Yeah, I know. And so it's not like it's a universal problem, and there are folks that actually do. I mean, not all police, not all.
No, not
Here's
all.
the thing,
but
here's
it
the
only
thing.
takes a few.
But here's the thing. I think that the public is now thinking that something like that is the exception rather than the rule.
It ought to be the rule.
It ought to be the rule.
And the police need to start policing themselves, because they have a bad reputation. Because now, I mean, who would want to call the police if they have a problem?
I've never in my life been afraid of police, but I am now.
I know.
Well, I'm
a chubby old white woman. I don't look like I'd be a threat to anybody, but I'm more afraid of law enforcement than I have ever been in my life.
And rightfully so. People should be afraid of them.
Because, as you had pointed out to me, and you'll have to tell them what the article was, but you pointed out that you had read an article about a man who was an educated man with like a degree, thought he would serve his community as a police officer. He went and applied thinking he would be easily hired.
And part of the application process was IQ testing and personality testing. And his IQ was too high, and so he was rejected, and there was a court case about it, and the court came back and said that yes, the police department does have a right to restrict the IQ of the people that they hire, and that is very scary.
Frightening.
It is.
So what it's saying is that there are some police departments who do not want the best and the brightest among us. They want the bully, the thug,
the low end of the IQ spectrum,
the
that
coward.
they can tell them what to
Pull
do.
his gun and kill anything.
That's
like
right.
that cop in was it Cleveland that shot that 12-year-old Tamir Rice? I think we talked
He
about
just
it.
got out of the car and just shot
Within
the
2
kid.
seconds,
Yes.
the kid was dead.
Yes.
And that cop, when he was fired from his previous job in
It was
law
because
enforcement,
he was trigger happy.
because he was trigger happy, and his report said that his psychological makeup made it so that he should never be involved in the law enforcement field. Yet, when he went and applied to Cleveland,
They said, wow, he's the perfect one for the job.
he's dumb as a stump and ready to shoot at anything.
Well, the other side is that they do train the officers to take care of themselves first.
And they must,
and
because they need to go home too. They have families.
Absolutely.
They have rights.
But they need to improve the training. Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
Especially when it comes to assessing the situation. So often, in other words, they go in with the idea that you drop that, you drop it, or I'm going to shoot. Basically, and they end up shooting more often than not.
But
when you
shooting covered up.
when you've got a person
Shoot first,
that's
ask questions later.
No,
when you've got a
shooting covered
mentally ill person who is on the edge, barking orders of that nature
Is meaningless.
It's meaningless. It's actually worse than meaningless. It's
Because
like
it
pouring,
upsets. Yes.
It's pouring gasoline
Gas on a
the
fire. Yeah, you're right.
And whereas if they sit back, oh come on, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Tough day, huh?
Yes. Like
being
a
able to read it.
counselor almost.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like how you treat. I mean, I've confronted dogs. We've all confronted dogs in people's houses and whatever. I've never been bitten.
Some on dates.
I know. You would know about that. I would
Some
know about
men
it.
are dogs.
I know, and some women are female dogs.
That's true. And I have been accused of that more than once.
I know. Do we have a flag that has a big B on it?
She needs a shirt.
Yeah.
Being proud of it. Right?
Yeah.
But anyway, the reality is that we all, the good news is that there is coming about a consensus that we've got to do something.
And I'm excited. I'm just not willing to turn this decision-making process over to Republicans, because they'll screw it up, I'm pretty sure.
Well, there's a reading, there's a belief by some that it's got to be the far right that does this, because if the left does it, they're going to be, they'll be too vulnerable to being soft on crime. Okay?
Well, isn't that exactly what the Germans have done?
They're not soft on crime.
No, they're soft on criminals, though. They're soft on helping. Yes, they are, Pat. They are. That's what the stuff that's going on in Germany right now that is working is what the right would call soft on crime. Who wants to teach them anything? Let's just make them miserable. Let's put them in a hole and let somebody go in and rape them whenever they want to, and then that'll fix them.
To work and then pay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
In Germany, these people make a living wage. They make a better, decent wage while they're in prison than people here do that aren't in prison. It's disgusting. And it's working in Germany. You ought to educate yourself, people. If you go to www.vera.org, and that's vera.org, you can find these reports about this German experiment that has worked like gangbusters. Because what we need is to put justice back in America. Because right now, what we've got is not justice. It's just us. It's good for us, and we don't care about you. It's just us that matters and what we want.
Actually, that is the attitude of gaming the system to our advantage, and the whole bit that is, I mean, it all comes down from the top, okay?
Yes.
And it is the cancer
and from the base.
And it is the cancer that is eating us and is going to cause us to lose our liberty.
I think so. I think we're already losing it.
I know, but
we started losing it a long time before the black man moved into the White House.
Economic justice is an element of justice. Family law justice is an element of justice. Being smart is really the anecdote. And that's what I would say, rather than soft on crime, all they're doing is being smart.
Yes.
It's cheaper, it's better.
I don't call it soft on crime. I call it smart too. What the people of Germany have done was smart, and smarter.
Well, and look what they're doing as far as their elections. The elections are funded. Every candidate gets, the same amount of money, and the time frame in which they campaign is limited.
And that's what we need here. Lord have mercy.
We don't need these candidates going around and collecting millions from, and most powerful people that expect something in return, nor do we need independent billionaires creating their own lobbying groups and PACs to sit there.
Donald Trump is a national embarrassment.
Influence the political process for their purposes.
Because, what we have right now in America, and this has been going on for quite some time now, it was obvious in the last election, it's obvious in this one, this Republican clown show that goes on with, what do they got, 17 candidates now? Most of these people are not there really to run for president. They're there to sell a book. Now, Herman Cain, for example, ran in the last election. Herman was auditioning for Neil Bort's spot on AM radio.
Or they want to be a Fox,
Exactly. They want to be a Fox News anchor.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why they're running for president. They are using and abusing our country for their own self. Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't give a damn about actually governing this country. They're just helping themselves to whatever they can get. Mama, let's get a little from me. It's disgusting.
Okay. And I was trying to end this on a bright spot by talking about how wonderful it was and how smart it was.
Well, let's see.
in
Didn't
Germany.
we have something positive that we could talk about?
Well, we were positive last time, so I guess we're negative
Were
this
we?
time. Yes.
Positive. Let me see. Positive is that I think that if we try to educate ourselves and we try to learn about what's going on in the real world, not just in your little bubble world, if you learn what's going on in the real world, I believe we can save ourselves. But
People don't want to step outside their comfort zone.
that's right. And if you don't want to step outside your comfort zone,
it's to your own demise.
if you want to decide who it's okay to hate and you just only care about justice for you and your friends, then we will destroy ourselves. We will.
And they'll destroy themselves in the process too.
Well, I'm not talking, I mean us as a country, them
Okay.
taking the charge.
With that, I'm going to end the show, but I want to end it with a
positive note.
You have one?
Well, yes, actually, I do. It actually kind of ties in with the first part, which is the flag being and all that. That the incident that sparked that, which was the shooting in South Carolina at the Emmanuel AME Church, and the reality was that when they arraigned the kid, the people stood there and said, "We forgive you." That's where we all have to start, is understanding that we need to forgive those that trespass against us. And we don't need
Love
to be
thy
tempted.
neighbor.
We have to stop the tit for tat.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only way we stop the
Exactly.
cycle.
And
is if somebody steps up to the plate and says, "I'm not going to
hate
continue
you
this."
anymore. I'm not going to play this game of hate and retribution that you've got going, because God knows I never hated anybody in my life until I came here to this county, and suddenly I hated everybody.
And that has been a huge inner struggle for you, and you are working for it.
Yes, it has, and I am, because hate doesn't hurt all you people that did crappy things to me and then I hated you for it. Hate doesn't hurt you. It only hurts me. It only hurts the one who hates. So if you hate me, it's hurting you, not me.
Love one another. That's all, folks. Say bye.
Bye.